front wheel's choked up with mud and it just locks up. There's no clearance between the mudguard and the wheel, the tyre. We've already copped some rain here. It's greasy as. I'll just get on a solid ground, Tom. I'll just get on a solid ground. It's treacherous. The front wheel keeps locking up because there's no clearance between the mudguard and the tyre anymore. No, I'm stuck. Yeah, we only got 14 kilometres to go, but we're going to call it a day. They've already copped some rain here and the conditions are just too dangerous. We're just going to end up hurting ourselves or hurting the gear, so we'll find a place big enough for a couple of bikes. Up in the high ground would make sense, no shortage of wood. And then this evening I'll spend some time and try and clear that front guard, because if that stuff sets, I won't be able to break it with anything other than a rock breaker. Pretty soft here too. Pretty doughy. Oh, don't go too far in, Tom, I'll never get out. That's it, we're done. Well, it's been an interesting 24 hours. Hopefully this next 24 won't be a repeat of yesterday. We've got about 14 kilometres to go on this particular track, and I think both of us will be happy to see the end of it. The destination for this evening is actually the 45th anniversary of a thing they call the Border Run, which is at the WA, the West Australian South Australian border, which is about 600 kilometres from here by road, and it'll be all blacktop today once we get off this track at least. Oh, it's gooey. But anyway, yeah, we've got to get off this track first. About 14 kilometres of the same snotty stuff as yesterday. I spent quite some time last night trying to clear my front mudguard. Clear my front mudguard of mud because the front wheel was just locking up. Yeah, I was worried that once that stuff's set, it'll set like concrete. But anyway, light drizzle yesterday afternoon, clear skies today. Hopefully we'll be off this track in an hour. And then, yeah, meet a whole bunch of other blokes at the border for, like I say, the 45th anniversary of the Border Run. I did wake up this morning with a couple of bruises. I took a nasty fall yesterday and I must have fallen heavily on my right hip because that hurts, and my wrist, my left wrist. But anyway, considering how hard the fall was, I guess I'm fortunate. I'll live. There's just no warning. 1 minute you're standing upright, next minute over it goes. I thought today might be different, but clearly not. You know, you can't pick that. It looks okay, looks firm. 9.6 kilometres to go. Could be the longest 9.6 kilometres, oops, of our life. I wonder what it's like along there. Bit risky. But this junction signifies the end of the Telegraph Track for us. It does continue straight ahead and link up with the Eyre Highway, but we're going to be turning left here, and this will take us to Belladonia Roadhouse. We'll have to call in there and get fuel before we head off, so thank goodness that's over. This is a formed track and should be okay. So yeah, I'm not quite sure how long this is. It should only be, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 kilometres, but the conditions should improve somewhat, I think. This road, what's known as the Belladonia Road, is technically closed according to their website, or at least it was yesterday. It's probably areas that are a bit soft and gooey, and they close these roads so they don't get torn up by vehicles and trucks and stuff. Still obviously a few gooey patches along here. You wouldn't want to lower your guard. I mean, typically, you know, blokes like us get in the zone, and then suddenly, when you least expect it, end up finding yourself in a world of hurt. So yeah, it's a good idea still to be a little bit cautious. It's taken us, I guess, I don't know, about, let's call it 6 hours to do this stretch. It's just over 200 kilometres. I expected it to take us 4 to 5 hours, and that's what it would have done if it was dry, but because of those conditions, yeah, we lost a bit of time each time we come to a gooey patch. So yeah, taking about 6 hours to do 240 or 250 kilometres, which, considering the conditions, I guess is not bad going. I knew that road was closed. Yep. Right, Belladonia for fuel and probably a cup of coffee. We should start to see an increase in motorcycle activity. The border run's quite popular. Blokes come from around Australia to go there. It's an opportunity for blokes to get together and talk nonsense. Blokes who haven't seen each other for a little while. So yeah, wouldn't be surprised if we see an increase in motorbikes along the Eyre highway from here. The bike's a bit grubby, and I'm not anal about cleanliness, but you can imagine if you had a puncture or you've got to take the tyre off the rim and the bike's covered in mud like that, it's not helpful. So when I can, and I don't know when that's going to be, but when I can, I'll give it a quick wash, I think. It was 1.5 where we were. I knew the truck would be damp. Just entering WA South Australia border. It's not a lot here. Border village is only tiny, very, very small. That's a quarantine station there. Well, I was told that people just camp over the road in the bush, but looks pretty dodgy over here, so we'll just book into the campground along with the vast majority, I think. These will have access to showers and electricity and the like. Welcome to the border run. Alright, a quick history of the border run in 25 words or less. Two mates who grew up in Perth, one moved to South Australia. So they decided at some stage to get together at the border, WA South Australia border, and just share a drink. So they did that. Then they agreed to do it the following year as well. Only a few more blokes tagged along. From there started the humble beginnings of what's now known as the border run. Gets sometimes hundreds of blokes from around Australia just to meet at the border, always the first weekend or the first Saturday in August. Bunch of blokes, well, a bunch of riders, yeah, get together, share a drink, share a beer and some stories, pat each other on the back, and then go back and do it again next year. And this is the 45th anniversary of the border run, so it's got a long and distinguished history. Well, it's the morning after, the night before. Some blokes are leaving before dawn. My guess is they're slapping it back to Perth and be home today. That's 1,500 kilometres. It's a huge day. From here, Tom and I, we're going to go to a thing called the Off-Centre Rally. That's in a week's time. We've got to cover about 2,000 kilometres, and the off-centre rally this year is held at Adele's Grove in the, let's call it the Gulf of Carpentaria. So yeah, we'll have a late start today, let the gear dry out, and then start making our way sort of northeast.
Blue dew, blue moon, kinda mysterious, shaded with someone I'm not really into. Do you need to fix it? Talking bullshit. It's hard to see you when your eyes look dull. Who's gonna save you? Who's gonna make you not blue?
Alright, we're going to continue heading east for about 80 kilometres on the blacktop, but before that, during that, we're going to call in and just have a look at the cliffs off the Great Australian Bight. Pretty spectacular view there, so we'll have a look at that, and then after 80 kilometres we're going to go bush and get on the unsealed stuff and stay on the unsealed stuff for a little while. Yeah, we've had a late start, only to allow the gear to dry. We've got 6 days to do a couple of 1,000 kilometres, so no rush.
Blue dew, that moon, sort of witty and jaded, but let's not talk about you. Your coyote song on a rerun. Are you hound dog tired, singing all night long? Who's gonna save you? Who's gonna make you?
From here we just move up the road a few kilometres, 5 or 6 kilometres, and then turn left, start heading north to the road leading up to Canalda Homestead, and we'll just crawl around there and have a look-see. Okay, yeah, we're just approaching a thing called Canalda Homestead. This was a, well, it was a sheep station, but it was also a travellers' rest stop on the original Nullarbor Crossing. People could stay here, refuel. I guess they had some workshop facilities. There's a very interesting car graveyard here. Obviously they would get cars here, and if they couldn't be repaired, they would just be dumped and abandoned. The new crossing, the sealed road, was sealed in, I think, 1976, and this place pretty much went guts up about 10 years after that. But yeah, still quite intact. The homestead was actually built using sleepers that the owners stole from Trans-Australian Railway Line. So yeah, we'll spend a bit of time and just crawl around here and have a look-see.
Been 1 or 2 since I ran into you. Do you need a picture?
Okay, from here we pick up the old Eyre highway, the original Nullarbor Crossing, which obviously hadn't seen a grader on it for 50 years, or nearly 50 years. But it's perfect for our purposes, adventure riding, and it's, I mean, as long as it's dry, it's okay. You wouldn't want to be out here in the wet, of course. We'll continue following that now for 100 kilometres east until it rejoins the existing or the new Eyre highway. It joins there at a roadhouse called Nullarbor, and we'll refuel, get a cup of coffee, and then from there get back on the old Eyre highway and continue heading east. The next traveller's rest stop along the old original crossing was a place called Ivy Tanks. There's not much there anymore, but we'll pull over there and have a look. But that's after Nullarbor. Yeah, the original Eyre highway, the old Eyre highway as it's known, is still on a lot of maps. You can still find it. I don't know, a lot of even new maps. Yeah, interesting road, and it gets you off the blacktop, which is our whole objective. In some places you can see how wide the road actually used to be. You know, it used to be double lane, obviously. Well, double lane, not one way. You know what I mean? Yeah, like I say, you can see where they've had a grader once upon a time across here. But I mean, some of those wrecks back there, things like mini miners. I mean, geez, what were you thinking? You know, you'd rip the sump off, the suspension would fail. Yeah, and I do know blokes who, you know, tell me of stories about, you know, back in the day crossing the Nullarbor, the original crossing. It must have been tough going. Alright, we're approaching Nullarbor Roadhouse. Existing Eyre highway is just there. We're still on the original crossing, just here. But anyway, yeah, we'll call in here for fuel, a cup of coffee and maybe something to eat. We'll continue heading east on the original Nullarbor Crossing. Alright, we're away. We parallel the existing crossing. There's the Nullarbor, there's the Eyre highway just there. Hi folks, how's it going? And then after a while this original crossing spears off and heads further inland. So yeah, I'm not sure how far we have on this stretch, about 120 k's perhaps, a little bit more. Right, we're just approaching another, what used to be a traveller's rest stop, a place called Ivy Tanks. Not much left here now. There is another car graveyard, a smaller one. We'll just stop here for a few minutes and have a look around. That there, I think, is where the place got its name from. It's a bit of wetland, a few tanks down there. Yeah, this is Ivy Tanks. I was here some years ago on my own, and there was a dingo trapped in this. Look, I don't know what it was, a well or a cellar, I'm not sure, but there was a dingo trapped in here.
I don't know how long he's been down there. I don't know how long he's going to be going if he dies. If I can, I'll lean up one of those drums in the hope that he can jump out. Just take it as a light in the meantime.
Did I say it was cold? Minus 2.5.